Ever since I've started playing the finals back in Season 6, I've never been all that hooked on the main game mode, Cash Out. Don't get me wrong, it's fun and chaotic, but it isn't the main selling point for why I got into the game. What got me hooked was the sandbox nature, the insane destruction, and its virtual game show vibe that makes the finals stand out. So it makes perfect sense why I've gravitated towards the alternative game modes instead. They mostly bring fresh scenarios, new twists, and a different kind of energy to the arena, one that highlights the creativity that may feel absent in Cash Out at times. And honestly, that's why I, and probably a lot of other players, keep coming back. So let's talk about them, and why I enjoy them for what they are. If there was an option to see which game mode you've played the most, TDM would definitely be the most played for me. Implemented in Season 6, this mode features 2 teams of 5 facing off in rounds, where their goal is to reach 30 eliminations, or to finish with more eliminations than the opposing team when time runs out. The first side to win 2 rounds wins the entire match. In concept and execution, it is incredibly simple. This flexibility contributes to the sandbox you've been given to mess with. In my opinion, a game doesn't need to be sweaty or have a highly competitive scene to be fun or engaging. The higher elos tend to create metas and best builds, but that doesn't define what makes a game enjoyable. They may say stuff like, you need to play this weapon, have this gadget, etc. For example, Medium has always had the defib, that is considered the gadget you are always supposed to have in World Tour. And while the game isn't forcing you to use defib, that pressure from teammates in the meta makes a creative chokehold. In TDM, there is no meta. There might be better builds for synergy between weapons and gadgets, but virtually anything is possible. Because of the low stakes, I could play something like the Spear and still have fun or contribute to my team. Compared to Cash Out, it can be more difficult to achieve that without using the weapon constantly to get use out of it. Don't get it wrong, I'm not asking for more low skill ceiling weapons. However, I'm comparing TDM and Cash Out for their flexibility, and with strategies being more in-depth for the latter, it leaves a gap for simplicity that Team Deathmatch fills. However, that's what makes TDM great. When you look at Cash Out, it's incredibly complex. It's difficult to explain to someone how the game mode works. They have to play it to understand it. The finals is its own genre and can't really be categorized. However, Team Deathmatch is one of the oldest multiplayer modes to play with friends. Everyone who's played an FPS before understands it. Being the opposite of ranked, it's low stakes. No one really cares when you lose in TDM compared to, say, a World Tour. With the smaller arenas being bits and chunks of certain maps for TDM, destruction gets a shine. Buildings will topple over, cranes will collapse, and entire roads will be paved. What might be minor points of interest in Cash Out are key elements here. If I were to choose a game mode to show how much the finals feels next generation, this would be it. Like Cash Out, I've never seen a game mode like Power Shift. If I had to choose something similar, it would be Payload or Escort from games like Team Fortress 2 or Overwatch. In 2 teams of 5, you have to capture this platform thingy. When you or a teammate stands on it, the platform moves towards your territory. When an opponent stands on it, it shifts towards theirs. When the match timer hits 0, whichever side the platform ends up on wins. It's Payload, but with both sides playing attack and defense. Overall, pretty simple to understand. While I don't enjoy it as much as compared to TDM, I understand why people may favor it. It scratches that itch of a straightforward, one objective type of mode. Like what I said about TDM, Power Shift shows how revolutionary the destruction system is. Now, the main platform doesn't go through streets and alleys. Instead, it pulls a Kool-Aid Man and destroys every building in its path. Seeing a ravaged Skyway Stadium or Las Vegas is insanely cool and adds new geometry to fight upon. I will say, Power Shift feels like an absolute win or lose scenario 55% of the time. Either you're destroying the other team, or you're getting destroyed. A stalemate could also be frustrating, as it often leads to the same areas being fought over repeatedly. However, it's still fun. Unlike TDM, there are weapons and gadgets that are seen as better to use. However, it's still casual, so it doesn't really matter what you bring. Stuff like the APS turret, which is barely used in Cash Out, is a staple in Power Shift. I hesitated to include head-to-head at first. While it's labeled as a different game mode, it's really more of a condensed version of Tournament Cash Out. If you played enough World Tour, you'll recognize the final round, and head-to-head is just that. It's 2 teams of 3 fighting for vaults and stations. It debuted as a limited time mode in Season 7, and while it's not a groundbreaking concept, more of a minor twist on quick cash, that's part of the appeal. Instead of playing a lengthy World Tour match just to have the chance to fight in a 2-team scenario, it's right here. To start off, there's more fairness involved. Compared to something like Quick Cash, 3 teams hunting down to one objective is chaotic. You have no breaks or little moments of peace when defending or attacking a Cash Out. and your team will become stranded in a matter of seconds. While you could say this happens because new installs don't know how to play with their team, it also happens in tournaments. Whenever a box is doubled or 3 teams fight on one vault, it's pandemonium. That's why people hate griefing so much. If you're not familiar, griefing in the finals refers to when a first place team intentionally hands a vault over to the last place team. This occurs at the last minute of the round, where they can easily double that cash out. This tactic helps secure an easier fight for the first place team next round, since only the top 2 teams advance in the bracket. If you want a video explaining in greater detail on how it affects the community, there's one by a Poe, I think I'm pronouncing that right, that explains it perfectly. There'll be a video link in the description. In summary, doubling and griefing can lead to an unequal fight where it feels like dumb luck can tip the scales in your favor. So yeah, while I don't play head-to-head much, it's nice to have that simple yet critical change to quick cash. You get to test the entire arsenal the finals gives you while being in that last round. Now, keep in mind I have no footage for these game modes, so it'll just be background footage or stuff I found from the finals wiki. When the finals launched back in 2024, it included a game mode called Bank It. To paraphrase from the finals wiki, it's a 12-player game mode. There are 4 teams to free, where opening vaults and getting kills gives you coins. It could also stack. For example, if you open a vault that contains $5,000 and kill 3 people, you'll carry $8,000. However, you don't earn that money unless you go to a deposit station, where you have to, and you're not going to believe this, deposit them. If you're killed while still holding the money, it spills all over the floor for anyone to take. It's like kill confirmed, but with a bit of the finals flair. The first team to have $40,000 in the bank wins. So why is this game mode gone? Well, in Season 6, TDM replaced it, leaving it to be only playable in private matches. However, in Season 8, it was removed from private matches altogether, basically making it lost media. I remember playing 1 or 2 matches via private lobbies, and that's it. From what I remember, it was decent. It was chaotic, but a fun type of chaos. There was times I had $10,000 and I felt like I had a bounty on me. Running through the streets of Las Vegas with 12 people having their own skirmishes and battles gave a feeling I've never really felt from a shooter before. However, that was in Season 7, so take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. The final game mode removed from the finals was Terminal Attack. There's not a lot to say here, it's essentially Counter-Strike. However, from the matches I played with TA, which is a lot more than Bank It, it does not mesh with the finals at all. CS and other tactical shooters that are 1 life are slow, methodical, and careful. The finals is fast-paced, dynamic, with destruction, and chaotic. And while yes, there can be fast-paced parts in Counter-Strike and methodical parts in the finals, they are not the main defining features of each game. Combined with it being the main ranked mode for Season 3, which means it could not be avoided for majority of the player base, it left a permanent taste in their mouths. Now, I don't play ranked, but I can understand why this was difficult to play. The finals has the most unique game mode I have seen in over 10 years, and it is a golden goose for this game. For them to rip it away and replace it with a oversaturated game mode over 20 years old says something. Now, I'm not saying it wasn't fun when I played it in Season 7. It could be fun, but most matches, from what I remember, were absolute sweeps or losses. Maps like Las Vegas were fun with the enclosed buildings, and you could sometimes have long-range battles on the LED canopy. From what I played of it, it was an experience, but not one I necessarily meshed with. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not trying to unnecessarily hate on this game mode. I'm simply explaining its flaws so I can understand why people hated it early on. If it just came out as a limited time mode and didn't drastically change ranked, there would probably be no hate. As of Season 8, it was replaced with head-to-head and removed from private matches as well. Like Bank It, it is lost at the sands of time. So that's it. Sorry for the more slightly somber ending, but I really did want to add game modes that were deleted from the finals. I think it would be more of a boring video just mentioning TDM, Power Shift, and head-to-head. Having different ways to play keeps the experience fresh for all players. If the finals in Season 8 only feature cash out, even if that's what most people play, the game would feel incomplete, with fewer opportunities to showcase its full sandbox potential. And that's why options are always great. I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. If you saw my previous video where I tried out weapons that are level 1 for me in XP, I have a sequel in the works featuring the SA-1216. I also have a question as well. Do you guys want more just explanatory videos about certain aspects in the finals or more opinionated ones? That's all I got. Have a great rest of your morning, day, or night, y'all, and stay amazing.